Never stop. Whatever you do it fully and do it with passion. And if you're not passionate about it, maybe you should choose something else. My theory is that when I die, all my jets will be on E, and I will have burnt the candle at both ends and up the middle.
Hello, this is Marco Rock. Welcome to Marco Rock TV. My name is Marco Rock. I'm your host for Inside a Gray Mind, where we interview entrepreneurs, game changer achievers for the purpose to inspire and inform you. Today on episode 73, I'm so excited for my guest, Terri Sanders. How are you, Terri?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great. Finally, we make this happen.
Finally, and thank you very much for coming down.
It's my pleasure. So tell us, who's Terri Sanders?
Terri Sanders is currently the publisher and editor of the Omaha Star newspaper and the executive director of the Mildred D. Memorial Study Center.
That's awesome. So I want to know more about Omaha Star. What inspired, triggered you to become the publisher of this newspaper?
Omaha Star was founded in 1938 by Mrs. Mildred D. Brown. This building that we are in was actually purchased by Mrs. Brown in 1942. It is currently on the National Historic Register. Mrs. Brown also lived in this building.
She lives here?
She lived here. There's an apartment in the back that is still intact with all of her furniture.
Interesting.
So she was one of the original, what do you call it, work live people?
Yeah.
Yes. And the Omaha Star actually consists of two buildings. There's a building next door that she used for distribution, and this was the office portion of the newspaper. What inspired me to be the publisher? Tough question. I am a native of Omaha, so I knew Mrs. Brown before she passed away in 1989. I am on the Mildred D. Brown Memorial Study Center board, and at the time I was secretary on the board. I have a journalism degree from Creighton University, and the board purchased the paper in 2019. So this is a for-profit entity owned by a nonprofit. So the Omaha Star is a program of the Study Center. We were in a board meeting. It was an economic challenge at the time for the newspaper. And so we decided to reorganize the newspaper. And at that point, I looked away from everybody. I thought, I'm the only one at this table with a journalism degree. Don't let it be me.
Yeah.
But it was. They asked me, I asked the natural question, am I getting paid? They said no. I said, okay. Because I know the importance and the things that the Omaha Star provides to the community. And I'm a wholehearted believer in the mission and the vision of Mrs. Brown. So the Omaha Star reports the good news of our community. You can see any tragedy on any national television station, any local station, and read it in any newspaper. But who do you see, or where do you see, that your daughter got a scholarship to Spelman University? You're not going to see that in those major newspapers, but you see it in the Omaha Star. Do you always see the promotions of people? No, you don't. You see it in the Omaha Star, just like the recent promotions with the Omaha Police Department. Those appeared on our front page. So my real passion is right here in this building. I enjoy what I'm doing, and I wanted to see the Omaha Star thrive and live. And I actually knew Mrs. Brown, so I remember what she used to have in the pages of the paper. She was very social. She was at every tea, every church program, everything that happened, not only locally, but nationally and internationally. And she believed in Family of the Week, which I resurrected on our pages. And so here we are, and here I am.
So how long have you been a publisher?
I've been a publisher since February of 2020, right before the pandemic.
Oh, interesting. So is your goal trying to carry the legacy of the founder?
The goal is to carry the legacy of the founder and to go further. This is now a digital age,
Okay.
so we want to do some things digitally. We want the paper to thrive economically, so increasing our readership as well as increasing the advertisers and to increase the business, because this is not a mom and pop organization. This is a business. This is an entrepreneurial pursuit. And having been an entrepreneur for over 30 plus years, I understand what that means and how you have to diversify and expand, or what do we call it, next level.
Yeah, it seems like you have a good plan or strategy.
Yes.
How to take the paper to the next level.
Yes.
So how those strategies start working out for you so far?
So far, it's working.
Okay.
I recently encountered a lady that came into the paper, and she was talking about planning her funeral program and how much someone charged her to do that. Obviously, she's still alive. And I thought, oh, wow. And then I got to thinking, printing, that there is not a quote unquote Kinko's print shop between 16th and 72nd Cummings to Fort in this area. But you can service all the businesses in this area, as well as students at Creighton University and Metro Community College and students that live in the area. Why not put in an Omaha Star print shop? So within the next 60 days, we will be putting in a copy service right here, and we will be able to do binding, cutting of cards, and we will also pull from our archives and have note cards and calendars and all kinds of wonderful things.
That's great. So besides sharing the positive news, what other content you focus on?
We focus on news that is relevant to our community. That could be economic development, that could be obviously COVID, and how that affects members of our community. That could be political. What are the things coming out of Washington that we should be aware of? We are members of the NNPA, which is the National Newspaper Publisher Association, which represents 231 Black papers across the country. So Dr. Benjamin Chavis shared with me when I visited with him recently that the Children's Defense Fund sent him a report that said the current census shows that 14 and 15-year-old minorities are the majority of the population. So when they become adults, then we will be the majority population. And how students do not feel that a college education is important. And so they are looking at digitally how they can make money fast, but the key is, will that last? And so we should still stress education, higher education to students, so that they understand the value of that. And I found that interesting, so that'll be some upcoming series.
Yes. Terri, what does diversity means to you?
To me, right now, diversity is a buzzword. Diversity means that it is spread equally among peoples, and it's not just for 2021, but it is throughout time. And so while many corporations are creating a diversity department, and many schools, we need to diversify our student body, what does that mean? Are you simply bringing in people of color, or are you inclusive in what you're doing for people of color and giving fair opportunities and not just a raindrop in a bucket?
Okay, that's interesting. What inspires you to keep moving forward despite challenges that I have? Because every time I see you, the energy, the smile on your face, I don't get it. Tell me the secret.
So one of the things I pride myself in is I keep up with technology.
Okay.
And I am proud to say I am 63 years old.
Okay.
And I have children that are millennials.
Okay.
And if I did not keep up and took up the mindset of persons my age and older, they would leave me in the dust. I wouldn't get invited anywhere. I wouldn't be a topic of conversation. I wouldn't be included. I remember when texting was big and people, I don't text. My friends of my children would text all the time. And I found out that's how they communicate. So, okay, let me start texting. When Facebook came out, my younger daughter said to her sister, don't join mommy on Facebook because she's just going to be watching what you and your friends are doing. Wrong. I have used technology in every job and position that I have worked in to elevate what is going on, because many of the institutions in our community are older, run by older people who don't care about Facebook, Instagram, Insta stories, and LinkedIn. Now, I'm not into TikTok yet, but give me some time.
You come in there too.
I'm coming there too.
So I'm not even on TikTok.
Oh, well, you too.
Yeah.
I'll bring you with me.
So you find easily to adapt, to pivot, in time where it's needed. So how you usually make those transitions? Because it's not always easy for people to just say, okay, I'm gonna jump to TikTok, I'm gonna jump into the Facebook where I can be like the millennial.
Right.
How do you manage to do that?
I think it's by paying attention.
Okay.
When I graduated from Creighton with my journalism degree, I said I was never going back to school. I didn't want a master's, I didn't want a PhD, I didn't want any of that. I came out of Creighton in 3 years, and I said, okay, I'm out. Now deal with it. And so I am a student of YouTube University. I am a student of social media and what's going on. I'm even on Clubhouse and have my own club, mind you.
Okay.
I consider myself the OM, the oldest millennial. So that's how I keep up.
That's how you keep up. I love that.
And Twitter, yes.
And Twitter. So you're all over the place.
I'm all over the place.
That's good. And I think as a publisher, you need to be aware of what's going on, and we believe that in this new age, social media and on those platforms are where people usually get to find the information.
You're right. And it's interesting to me that younger people don't know what the Omaha Star is. I asked a group of students when I was leading a junior journalism course, who knows what the Omaha Star is? Oh, it's a recording company. No, it's not. I meet business people and start to talk about the Omaha Star. They say, what is that? And even people who are from here don't know. And this paper has been around since July the 9th, 1938. That's a long time for people not to understand what it is.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't know.
Oh, I'm sure.
Till recently. Yeah, so I had to put on the defense for them.
Okay. So the thing of it is, being a PR major, I understand how important it is to get the word out. So once I became the publisher permanently, because I started out as interim publisher, I made sure that anything that happened, I always contacted the news media so that I could be on the news and in the news and not of the news.
That's powerful. Terri, if you have the power to make one positive change in the world right now, what would that be?
Oh, that's a tough question. One of the things I think that is important, me being a female, is that there is equality. Equality and diversity are not the same thing. I recently learned that most of the publishers of community newspapers are females. And I questioned why, and they're wildly successful. Those females' husbands started a paper. They were doctors, they were lawyers, they invested, they started a paper, and then they died. And so their spouses continued. So equality across the board, and for people to understand how important succession is. Mrs. Brown died. She had no successor. Her niece stepped up, moved here from Kansas City. She was an educator. She ran the paper. She had no children, not that your children are your successors, because many times they're not. A lady that worked here, Mrs. Hicks, she stepped up to publish the paper. When her health started to deteriorate, Mrs. Frankie Williams stepped up and published the paper, all older women. Now here I am. it is my intention to have a successor. You are not a success if you have no successor, no one to pick it up and carry it to the next level. So those are the two things I want, a successor and equality.
Equality. If you were to be an animal, which animal would you be and why?
I love a giraffe.
Okay.
Giraffes eat from the tops of the trees. Giraffes do not bend down. If they were to bend down to take a perspective of a turtle, they would die because all the blood would rush to their brain. So I fancy myself as a giraffe, eating from the tops of the trees and not taking advice from turtles who are on the ground.
Powerful. Terri, if you have an advice tip to my audience, what would that be?
Never stop. Whatever you do it fully and do it with passion. And if you're not passionate about it, maybe you should choose something else. My theory is that when I die, all my jets will be on E, and I will have burnt the candle at both ends and up the middle.
Really nice put up. Terri, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for watching episode 73. We'll see you next time.